Alright, acquiring stream. We are live.
Hey everybody, welcome to AK Geeks. This is Geeks of Thrones. I'm Sean. With me I have Brendan.
Yep.
And Lynn.
How you doing?
Doing great. I've counted that I've walked up 10,252 steps today. I've taken numerous bathroom breaks. I've taken down all the stats of my day.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into this, you guys. Alright. We picked up this week's episode right back where we wanted to find out what happened at the end of last week. Bronn saved Jaime, and he pulls him out of the water. And at that moment, Bronn has some choice words for him. Like, starts to see like something's wrong with Jaime. Like, we were kind of,
which is what I said.
Like, we were speculating last week that Jaime's a broken man, and Bronn sees this now. Like, you saw the dragon there. Why did you do that? And Jaime has the lame excuse, oh, I saw a chance to win the war, but he says it in a very disheartened way. Like, he's still so broken. Bronn then responds and tells him, like, hey, you can't die until I get what I am owed.
Which is exactly what I said. He had no friendship towards Jaime.
So,
it's all for money.
If that's entirely it, what do you guys think about this scene? To kind of clears things up for us a little bit in this aspect. Brendan,
Had a good line.
which one?
I had a great line.
The dragons don't get to kill you. You don't get to kill you. Only I get to kill you.
I get to.
Yeah, that was a good line. I like this, and then I like the part right after that. Jaime's like telling him, like, we can't win this war. You see that? That was just one dragon. She's got two more. What happens if she decides to use them the right way? And he goes, oh, and then Bronn, I like the part Bronn goes, oh, well, this contract ends.
You're fucked.
Yeah, at dragons.
That was the first thing. We're fucked.
Yeah.
He was like, what do you mean we? You pledged loyal to me. I said, nope. I'm here to get what I want. Which is exactly what I told you guys about him.
The bag of gold from last week, where it made it seem like he was just going for the gold or choosing the Lannisters, Jaime. It turns out he was choosing the bigger bag of gold, which is the end result of what
the castle.
The end result, the castle of surviving and saving Jaime. So it was a good little scene to also see Jaime kind of even more broken, And this is a path that he's been on this whole season. So we go up to the next scene. It's Tyrion. He's walking the battlefield. Somber music's playing, and in my mind, you guys, he's looking for Jaime. He's looking for Jaime. He's looking for other people that he might know. He's taking it all in, and it's not a good thing. It's kind of very, very sad.
No, I don't think he was looking for Jaime because he saw Jaime riding the horse.
It could be. I mean,
towards Daenerys.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Well, then not Jaime, but he's looking for people. Looking this. If anybody he knows is dead, is dead. Taking it all in. It doesn't seem like, and they're playing music to definitely make it seem like, holy cow, he's taking this hard. Because I mean, he looked like he was taking it hard, watching people he probably knew die last week. It's Dany then talking to combatants, making a speech, saying that she's here to break the wheel, saying she's here, she's not going to be the same as Cersei and everybody else. All that's propaganda. But then she gives them a choice and says, okay, but even though I just said that, either choose my side or you're gonna die. What do you guys think of that? Is she really breaking the wheel?
She's doing no, actually she is, because she's giving them the option that you could stick to your loyalties and die by your loyalties, or you can come with me where I've broken all different loyalties at the same time, freeing and making things better for the people who are following me. So this is your option. Option A, you live by your loyalty about the queen that you have, or you come with me and try a better thing. Either way, it's your choice, not mine for you. I'm not going to choose it for you. You either die by your loyalties or you pick something that could be better in the end. And I think it was pretty much who she is when she's gone everywhere and tried to free the slaves or whatever the case may be, or work with the Dothraki. And she's basically doing what she's done in a different aspect, just to the men of King's Landing, to the Lannister army.
So
So she left it in their hands.
A bunch of them kneel because right behind them is Drogon. Left standing are Randall and Dickon Tyrell. Not Tyrell, Tarly. Sorry, Randall and Dickon Tarly, and they don't want to kneel because they've already pledged their fealty to King's Landing, to Cersei. And he says something like, you know, you're a foreigner. And they have a nice little discussion back and forth, and they both have valid points. At that point, I actually commend Tarly and Dickon for standing up for what they, you know, believed. I mean, we're also talking about how you said she gave them a choice. She's breaking the wheel in that sense. She's also breaking the wheel by also breaking with certain traditions. Like, even though Randall denied being sent to the wall, the Black, even though he denied it, you know, even Tyrion was trying to uphold some type of like a normalcy or tradition. So
he was playing the defense attorney there, try to get him out of the loop. But yeah, okay, you can do him, but
there's some others. And so she goes, nope, they chose. I gave them a choice, like you said, they chose. And then both Randall and Dickon die by fire.
Can you really show respect to them, considering that they betrayed Lady
Tyrell?
Yeah, they completely betrayed her.
It's one of those things, like,
and went with the Lannisters.
It's one of those things where you have to ask in this, because we don't live in that world, obviously, and we don't, and we're.
But here's the thing: the lady of the house they lived in.
So you got to wonder, their banner is for Tyrell, which was for King's Landing before that. So if Tyrell leaves, do they leave with her, or does the whole King's Landing thing supersede Tyrell? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get out.
She's the house of that. She's the lady of the house of that part of the kingdom. That's just like the King of the North. She runs that house. She is the last because her grandkids were killed off by the people at King's Landing, by the Lannisters. Why should they, who've seen these kids grow up and could have been the future rulers of their house, completely get obliterated, not understand why the lady decided to go against the Queen of the Iron Throne at the moment and just stay with her? No, they chose the easier fact to save their power and to save their placement in where they could be with the current queen. They weren't thinking about loyalty in the common sense. Because if that was the case, they would have died with Lady Tyrell. You know what I mean? So I can't look at them as anything else but just scapegoats. And to be honest, I wish Drogon would have eaten them and not fried them, because I think that would have been a better death.
So I can't. Okay. So what I heard from you though is you're saying that they're family. They're not.
No. They grew. They obviously that man is a long-standing general in the House Tyrell's army. Okay, he sided with Jaime because of what Jaime promised him. Remember the meeting they had?
No, I get that. I was just curious.
And during that meeting, he was saying, "I am whatever the House Tyrell was." And so he's seen all the action, what destroyed that house, and at the end, he took part of that just because of what he was promised. So I think they got their just desserts. This is what was intended for them, because they were not loyal.
Well, they were loyal to the Crown.
They jumped, but they were not loyal to the house they belonged to.
They belong to that house.
Yes, they were the heads of the House Tyrell's.
No, they're Tarly
men. Yes,
Tarly. They're Tyrell,
which were the bannermen for House Tyrell. They were bannermen for House Tyrell.
Okay.
All I got at it was they chose to die. I get his point of view to the point where she said all you got to do is break your vow again, and then they're like, no, I'm not doing that again. They know what she pointed it out where she was like, you already betrayed them once, and then he said something in lines where it was some like dangerous times or something like that. And basically, right. I got it as he's like, I'm not doing it again. If I refuse to go out that way again.
Yeah.
And so he said, I'd rather die than be a traitor again.
But he was, at the end of the day, he went out a traitor.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know? That's what at the end. That's what I was going.
What
with.
I was trying to get across though was, where does it lie? Is what's more important is to who they're bannermen for, or is it the crown?
So we'll switch houses, and let's say the bannerman of Winterfell did the same thing.
I don't want to sit on this too long, Glenn. I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit on this too long.
I would think the more important thing was to the house your banner to.
Okay, that's what that's all I wanted to get from you. Is that's what your side is? Okay, that's all I'm curious about.
Yeah.
I think at that point, like what Brennan said, they just didn't want to be a traitor again. I think it took some freaking guts to do that. Of course, they're dead now. Once that happened, everybody else kneels. So there's that. Jaime then goes to Cersei, tells them that it's a war they can't win. They start arguing, and Cersei says maybe Tyrion will intercede as an apology, essentially, for killing Joffrey and father. Jaime finally reveals the information that Olenna was the one that killed Joffrey, not Tyrion. And he gives her good reason to believe him, but she doesn't want to get over this, because I think it has to, with her believing Jaime means she has to somehow let go of this hatred for Tyrion that she's been holding on to for so many years, which would make it would be insanely hard for her to do that, and she's on a mission to get Tyrion.
She never liked him in the first place.
Exactly, even Tyrion said that.
Say again?
Exactly what Brendan said. She never liked him from the get-go. So, and when even Tyrion later on brings that up.
Exactly. Jaime says we got to get out of this war, and Cersei responds at the end with we either surrender and die, or fight and die. I thought it was good to see them. Now they're starting to clash a little bit, because what we're all thinking is what's going to happen with them in the future. Is it going to be Jaime who kills her? Is it going to be Tyrion that kills her? I don't know. Any thoughts? No?
Oh no, I can see either of those two things play out.
It's building.
But we also haven't seen Lady Dorne. Keep that in mind.
It's building. I like it. We go to Dragonstone at this time. So Jon Snow's there, and Dany arrives on the dragon, and this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. So the Drogon arrives. He steps towards Jon Snow, growling and snarling, and then kind of slows down, smells him. Jon takes off his glove and gives him a nice old pet. And from Dany's perspective, she can't see, okay, is this dude dead? Or what's going on here? And then finally there's an angle where she sees that he's petting Drogon, and she gets like a look of amazement in her eyes, or intrigue, I should say. Intrigue would be a better word. Very intrigued with what's going on, and who is this guy petting my dragon? Or is she turned on?
I think she was more aware, because Drogon, for one, was doing the whole purring thing, and his scales started to... He was not as tense. They dropped a little bit when she was on his back. So I think she was like, wait, how is he able to do that? I saw it more like that. Like, why is he able to touch Drogon? Why is he able to, like, love on my dragons? I'm the mother of dragons, not him.
She wasn't turned on. She wasn't turned on at all.
I think it made her. I think later on it made her appreciate him and look at him in a different light. But that was the start of that. I really don't. Yeah. I don't want them to be all, kissy, huggy stuff. That.
All right. So
yeah, I don't know why you got to bring it there.
It was part of intrigue, and it was a respect thing. I thought. I'm glad they didn't play that as the I'm hot for you thing. I just wanted to bring that up because I want to see what you guys said. So they start walking. Talking,
you need to get laid.
She mentions like, yeah, I have less enemies than I did yesterday. So she talks about how this having strength to do good things, sometimes having strength that you need, is terrible. And they both pass on some knowledge about this. And then she asks him, hey, Sir Davos said you took a knife to the heart. And he says, yeah, it was a figure of speech. You think she buys that, you guys?
Oh, no. He texted that girl. She was not a coworker. Not a coworker. She was flying grass off. She knows it.
I think she suspects some deception right there.
No, I think she knows there's a lot more to Jon than what they're letting on, but at the same time, she's not going to push it.
She's taking it with a
she's gonna, yeah, she'll let him tell her on his own fruition when he has actually a little bit more trust. Because he, like he said, later on when he talks about the whole trust thing, that was key to that. He still doesn't trust her. He came over with trusting her. So we'll see.
So as they're talking, one of the Dothraki come and Jorah returns. His hair looks a little longer. He looks a little healthier. So his travel took a while. One.
Yeah, his didn't go. His wasn't like he didn't get the Turbo Express lane.
He took a whole episode to get where he has to go. And Jon mentions his father and says, "Hey, I served with your father. He was a great man." And there was that, and you saw this. You did actually see a look of love in Dany's eyes and admiration for Jorah and being back and so happy. And so, when I say love in this instance, I'm not talking hanky-panky love. I'm saying like actual love for somebody. So I thought it was nice, the reunion of them, especially with him being okay now. At this point, ravens are being... Bran is warging into ravens, and I think he's warging into multiple ravens at once, right?
It's a complete murder that you saw. There was a murder of ravens.
He was in a whole flock of ravens warging into them. When they're flying, they go past the wall, and then they arrive over some White Walkers, and as they're over the White Walkers, he sees them, and then the Night King sees the ravens and can... For me, I got that the Night King can sense that, oh, these ravens, there's something going on. Either it's Three-Eyed Raven because he got touched, remember? Or he can sense that they're not regular ravens. At this point, Bran tells the Maester that we need to send ravens. By sending ravens, they're going to send out word that the White Walkers are on their way to Eastwatch. We go to the Citadel. Sam enters a meeting with the Maesters, and they're talking about how they received a raven, and they start reading the scroll, and it mentions the crippled from Winterfell, and so he goes, "Hey, I know of him, and I vouch for them." And he does it in other words eloquently enough, and you see some frustration from Sam, which is leading on to some other scenes in later on in the episode. I thought it was a good scene for Sam.
Yeah, but then he's playing off of those crotchety old guys who really didn't want to change their way of thinking anyway. So that's why, as he was leaving, you heard them talking about all these other people that were claiming to be other forms.
Yeah.
So
I feel bad that they haven't told him yet that his brother and father have died. He would shed a tear even though they've hurt him. I think Sam is a kind person at heart, and he would be very hurt about that. We go to the next scene where Tyrion and Varys are sitting in the throne room discussing the burning of the Tarleys, how to avoid feeling guilty, and Varys gives him a reasoning, a way to do it, a coping mechanism to say, "I'm not the one that did that. I'm not the one that did it. I'm not at fault." And he just, even though they're suffering, you just keep on saying that you're not the one, pulling the trigger. You're not the one lighting them on fire. You're not the one swinging the sword.
He's winding down as a character.
It seems like
he's really just there to be there until whatever final moment he has.
It seems like they have something either later on for him.
Yeah.
The episodes for now. We go to them receiving the scroll, and he goes, "Well, this is a scroll from the King of the North," implying that he hasn't read it. But Tyrion goes, "What'd it say?" Of course, he read it. So Jon gets the letter. Arya and Bran are alive. They're all meeting around the table, and they're talking about how to prove the White Walkers and the Night King exist, and how they have to fight them. And Jon says, "I have to leave. This is about trust. I trusted you. I came here trusting you, knowing you could behead me. But I trusted you, a stranger. Please trust me now. I need to leave. I don't need your permission." I thought he was gonna say, because I'm not a prisoner here. He never brought that up. I thought he was going to throw that in there, but that's good that he didn't bring it up. He used his words to make her trust him. And so he's going to get a White Walker and bring it to Cersei alive. Tyrion is going to somehow get a meeting with Jaime, and Jorah volunteers to capture a soldier with Jon. And at this time, we're starting to form the Fellowship. So,
no, he did not.
We go to Winterfell, and it's a meeting of the Lords, and Arya walks in the meeting of the Lords. Mostly the Lords of the Vale are telling Sansa, they're pressuring her that they should have voted her to be queen, not Jon, and they're talking smack about Jon, and Sansa's letting them do it because she's trying to appease them by hearing them out, but she's also not standing up for her brother because Sansa is, has some issues. Arya walks with her, and they're having a conversation about this, and she calls her out, and she's reading between the lines and totally calling it like it is. Then Arya realizes, like, holy cow, I've shown my card, or Arya's seen my cards. What did you guys get from this situation, Brandon?
I can't really. I'll tell more about it when we get to the end, because that explains how I feel about it.
Okay, Lynn, what did you get from this part?
I'm just glad Arya was there, and I agreed 100% with what she said, because it seems like not only did she learn a lot by watching Cersei, she also learned a lot by Joffrey, and she lost a lot of demerits from being with this episode, because it shows how conniving she's really being. The fact that, because she's letting the same two guys who had the issue, the head of the Knights of the Vale, and also the head of the one house, which was House Mormon, I think it was. I think that's the head of the other general.
They said
these same two.
We're the Lord of the Vales. We came here to support.
Well, the one guy said that. He was speaking for the soldiers of the Vale. But the other guy was from, I think, House Mormon again. And those two guys, different houses, were the same two complaining that Jon should have never left. There's no reason for Jon to leave, to go meet, Daenerys.
After this...
So here they are bitching and moaning again, and she hasn't learned to say, you know what? It is what it is. Shut your mouths. Deal with it. When he comes back, you can tell this to yourself. Why she would allow her brother to get insulted when he's not there is beyond me.
Now, I wouldn't behead them, like Arya states, but I would shut them down.
I would have done no one
One of the
thing.
telling signs in the scene is when Arya brings it up, kind of you letting them talk smack, is that Sansa says in that room, not to Arya but to them, she says Jon is doing what he thinks is best, and not saying Jon is doing what's best for us. Not backing up her brother. She's leaving room for doubt, which is a bad thing. That's a bad thing. So I like that Arya called it out and read between the lines. We go back to King's Landing. Tyrion, Ser Davos, they arrive on the shore, and Davos says he has some business to attend to, tells Tyrion the way to go. Tyrion arrives, then you go to the crypt where Bronn is bringing in Jaime, and he tells him about sword fighting. Nobody wants to see it, but he's really bringing him to meet with Tyrion. And I love this meeting between the two, because now Tyrion finally got a chance to kind of spell it out, like, hey, he knew I was innocent, was going to kill me anyway, and that's why I did what I had to do, And he didn't love me to begin with because of what I am, not because of who I am. And so Jaime, being in his broken state, I feel kind of took some of that in, but was still also mad. I almost thought Jaime was going to laugh when he talked about he said that joke. He cut Jaime off and said a joke, and I was like, is Jaime going to laugh? And kind of like smile, like, oh, this is what it's like to be with my brother again. He didn't, but it was interesting. And they talk about a meeting, an armistice between the two parties, and we go from there to then in the streets. Davos is in the streets, going down the Still Street, and he comes across Gendry, the streets of Still, and talks to him and says, hey, we're leaving King's Landing. And Landry's like, let's do it. I'm ready to go. I've been training. I know I've been ready for something. And Gendry looks like Christian Bale in this episode. He totally looks like Christian Bale.
Okay.
He looks like Christian Bale. He gets his hammer and they walk off. They go towards the boat, and as they're just getting some guards.
You didn't talk about one of the best lines in that entire scene.
What part? Which line? I'm waiting for you to speak up. Come on, Brendan.
The line where he's like, "Oh, I thought you'd still be rowing."
Oh. What season? Yeah, that was a good one. Actually, I laughed.
Everybody's been thinking, "What the hell is he doing this whole time?"
That was such a treat to the fans for that. Yeah, that was just for the fans.
So they show the guards the fermented sea crab. It's gonna get you horny, and you'll bust a hole through them chainmail, and then they start walking.
It's super Viagra.
And then Tyrion comes. He's like, oh, and they can't talk their way out of this one. So Gendry just goes freaking badass on them and smashes their faces in with his warhammer. I want to see that.
The same weapon. The same weapon his father used to kill Jon's real father. Yeah. Keep that in mind.
Exactly, yeah. Really cool scene. So then they leave. We go then to Cersei and Qyburn are talking. Qyburn were talking in the keep in the room. Qyburn leaves because I'm sure he's filling him in on Bronn's meeting. Bronn taking Jaime to meet with Tyrion. Jaime comes in. He says that he met with Tyrion. They want to have an armistice, and she tells him like we need to fight this war how our father would fight it, underhand, to do anything we can to win this war, because obviously we can't win against just 3 dragons, whatever. He's still shaken and not like, I don't know about this, and we need to do this for us. And she informs him that they're preggers.
They're not pregnant.
So that's, I think, she's exactly. So Jaime's happy. Jaime's very happy. Who we say is the father? You are. You're the father. They hug, and then she goes, "Don't ever betray me again. Don't ever betray me again."
That line when she said that should have clicked in his head like, well, okay, like that means she.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because like, she just threatened me, so that means she's willing to kill me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. We go to Dragonstone. Gendry gets into the cave of the Dragonglass, meets Jon, and outright says who he is. They start talking about their fathers and hearing stories of them. And it goes from this point where now Gendry volunteers for the Fellowship of the White Walkers.
Can you call it anything else but the Fellowship?
What else do we want to call it?
I don't know. Anything.
Avengers?
Yeah, because I've seen a meme with all their heads, in the Avengers formation thing.
Oh, okay.
And the Hound was the Hulk.
We'll get into that a little later, but yeah, okay. At this point, we're leaving Dragonstone.
I already had one.
I'm sorry, we're not leaving Dragonstone, but... Yes, I'm sorry, we are leaving Dragonstone. Tyrion's giving a coin to Jorah. Everybody's saying goodbye. Jon says goodbye to Dany. There's some heartfelt goodbyes, and you feel like some of these goodbyes are the last time some of these people are going to see each other. They definitely give you that vibe. It's like, alright, so some of these people are never going to see each other again, some people are going to die. As of right now, it's Jon, Gendry, Sardavos, Jorah, and some extra men as well. From there, we go to the Citadel, where Gilly is reciting some... Oh.
So wait. Stop right there before we get to the Citadel. But, with the boat, as of those men there, who do you think out of those men are not coming back? Who gave you the impression that we're not seeing?
Tyrion just signed freaking Jorah's death warrant with giving him the coin and saying, "Hey, bring this back to me alive."
Mormont is gone.
It was a short-lived happiness for reunion for him and Dany.
I think Jon's gonna have to tell Brienne of Tarth her boyfriend's dead.
Yeah. Sorry, your boyfriend.
I think Jon and the Hound are coming back.
Well, hold on.
That's it.
Hold on.
Just those two.
We're not there yet.
I was referring to just the ones in the boat.
Right there.
The ones that just first.
I think Gendry. Some people are counting Gendry out, but I think his role.
I think Gendry is a lot bigger role because he's the last son of Baratheon, even though bastard son.
I think he can. His role in this whole Game of Thrones can actually be a lot bigger.
Is a lot larger.
Than what some people think right now, but I think Jorah's done, based on this moment.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Citadel. Gilly's reciting some stats of the Maester and counting the steps, counting the shits, counting the windows and everything. And Sam is getting frustrated, obviously, still frustrated from the previous scene with him. And she goes on to about to say that Rhaegar got an annulment. She says that he got an annulment and had a simultaneous wedding at the same time, which is a wedding to Ilaria. Ned's sister, Ned Stark's sister. But they don't spell that out for us. But that's what it is. But Sam cuts off.
Oh, they gave you enough. Yeah, because of Sam.
Enough. Sam's so frustrated, he cuts her off. She says, "I can't believe I'm doing this. Just doing this, cleaning up poop and rewriting books. I need to make myself a name for myself and be in these books myself and write my own story." So he goes and steals some books.
That was the best and worst time for him to fucking have a titty attack.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Baby's got the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby got the book.
Baby got book.
You watch the baby's the one that says the name or some crap like that since he's learning how to read.
but what this says to everyone right here and now, Jon is not illegitimate. He is the true heir to the throne, above Daenerys. That's what that tells you.
So this leads us into other things which we could talk about later. Mainly, what we're looking forward to in the future. So Sam goes to the library. He's gathering books, and he takes one last look at the whatever you call that, where they use the magnifying glasses to reflect the light to see down the aisles. Takes one last look, and him and Gilly leave, and they leave the Citadel. I thought it was a big step for Sam and his character to take a step forward instead of just sitting on the sidelines, get into the game.
Yeah, I thought this was coming because I couldn't see him just sitting there wasting his life away.
He's so smart.
He's
so smart, and
and the fact that he went through the wall by sheer luck and guts, with that piece of dragon glass, and so he's not one.
He had a good line too.
What was that line?
I'm tired of reading the achievements of better men.
Yeah. He wants to write his own story. He wants to be in those books. He wants to be one of those better men. So we go from there. We go back to Winterfell, and Arya is still doing her thing, and she's a little badass now. Freaking assassin, spy, whatever you want to call it. She's freaking filling every role there is in the book. And she's watching Littlefinger meeting. He's meeting with the blonde. And then he's meeting with the maester that took over and the other side dude, whatever his name is, which I don't know if they've ever mentioned his name. At this...
Oh, Brendan, you're killing me. You're killing me. Sorry for anybody who does watch this, the fact that Brendan switched his phone and ruined the middle block here, but that's what you're getting.
So, Littlefinger goes to his room, and shortly, while Arya is watching him, the maester comes to the room and says, "Here's the scroll you were asking for, it's the only one." And so Littlefinger takes it in his room. And at this point, I was like, he knows Arya's watching. He has to. He's freaking Littlefinger.
But this disappoints me, too. We lost him.
And so I was like, he has to know that, Arya's watching. He has to know. So Arya, he goes into the room, then he comes back out shortly later, locks the door, and leaves. Arya goes in there, picks the lock, and looks for the scroll, finds the scroll, and on the scroll, she finds that was given to Littlefinger. That is the only one in Winterfell. It says, "Rob, I write to you with a heavy heart. Our good King Robert is dead, killed from the ruins he took in a boar hunt. Father has been charged with treason. He's conspired with Robert's brothers against my beloved Joffrey and tried to steal the throne. The Lannisters are treating me well and providing me with every comfort. I beg you, come to King's Landing, swear fealty to King Joffrey, and prevent any strife between the great houses of Lannister and Stark. Your sister Sansa." This was from season 1, right? And
episode 1.
Yeah, and it was. I remember this when Rob got the letter, the scroll, and so yeah, it's interesting. So, do you think Arya knows that was, or assumes that was forced? Or do you think she's totally believing that Sansa might have written that now because Sansa's been a little questionable? And I think Littlefinger knows that, and I think Littlefinger's used.
Here's what Littlefinger's forgetting. Arya was still in King's Landing, and was still talking to. Oh, now our windows are completely screwed up. Now you're across all three. Oh man. Let me see if I could. Damn it! I can't add them. Come on. Damn it!
We're almost there to the part where he wanted to be on too.
Yeah, I know. It's like dumbass son of a bitch. Stupid Skype.
Arya is badass right now. She's using her skills from the nameless men to infiltrate, to pick locks. So she learned a lot more than what we've seen in that time when she was there. We're learning that she knows way more. Her skills as a fighter have improved enormously, and especially from that last battle with the Wraith. So she's becoming a definite powerhouse, and I like what I'm seeing. But I hope she doesn't jump the gun.
Yeah. Well, so like I was saying, Arya was still there. Arya knows that Sansa went through some shit with both Cersei and Joffrey. So she has to, in her mind, remember that this was under duress.
I hope so.
But at the same time, this serves two purposes for Littlefinger. It instills doubt between the sisters, keeps them at odds, but at the same time, it helps him blackmail Sansa to doing what he needs. So he can tell her, well, you need to say this, you need to get, and you can tell he's paid off the same two guys, because you see them, same two guys who were bitching about Jon in front of everybody, every other house in the north. Something's going down, and either she's going to put that dagger to his throat and kill him off, or what have you. But yeah, it's coming. Littlefinger doesn't have long for this role. That's the way I see it.
So he's trying to play both sides, and I think he's doing a good job at it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think, but so at this point, Arya's following Littlefinger, and Littlefinger knows Arya's following him. At the end,
he should not, though. That's what pisses me off about this.
When Arya walks out, does Arya know that Littlefinger's watching him, watching her watch him?
I would hope so.
I think she does.
I would hope so.
I hope so too, because I don't want her to just jump on this letter and assume that Sansa has been turned or was turned. I don't want her to assume that.
Yeah.
I want her to be smarter because of all the training that she's been through, you know?
But I also want her to remember that she was there at that period and she knows what her family was going through at the beginning. I don't want her to automatically just like push her family aside the basis on one letter.
Exactly. Okay, so from this point, we go to Eastwatch. Tormund Giantsbane is there, Sir Davos is there, Jon is there, Gendry is there, and they're all talking about what they need to do. And we got Brandon back.
No.
Yeah, it shows that he's on.
What?
Brandon? Damn it, he's not back. Alright, so they talk about going to north of the wall, and Tormund seems pretty like, I'm down for this. And he's like, is it just you guys? Like, yeah, just us. Like, well, I know some other guys that want to go north too. And they take...
No, wait. He also asked one question.
What was the question?
He asked Jon, you didn't bring the tall the tall woman?
You didn't bring the tall...
Like, you can tell where his mind was. He's been in Eastwatch for however long this is. He's like,
it has to have been months by this point now, because you've had so.
Yeah.
So it's been.
Yeah. So he's like, where's my woman? I want to see my woman.
Bring her. So at this point, they go to see who are these other people that want to go north of the wall. It turns out it's the Brotherhood without banners, and so in there you got Horus, Beric Dondarrion, and the Hound, and they're all talking about why they don't trust each other. It comes out that Jorah Mormont, Tormund hears his name and goes, "What? You're the son of him? He hunted us like animal, like we were filth, whatever." He goes, "Oh, I heard it was the same. It was returned in favor." And then Gendry goes, "Oh, we can't trust the Brotherhood because they tried to sell me to a red witch to kill me." And etc. And everybody hates each other for a reason. And Beric is trying to get all eloquent and whatnot. And this is why we got to do this and this. And the Hound, I love when he does this. Like, shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Are we going with or not?
Would you shut the fuck up? Yeah.
And
He was awesome in that one scene. He's just like, you know what? We got to do this. We were going there anyway.
I like how John says right there after that. He goes, and Gendry goes, how can we trust him? Because we're on the same side. We're breathing. And that means, like, yeah, we got to do this. And so they all got to trust each other. They all have a vested interest in each other. They all have each other's backs. I don't imagine them just going at each other's throats for no reason. But we're going to get to that in a second. And so they head off and they get to the gate of the wall because Eastwatch.
Oh, I just thought of something that could happen.
Yes, I know. Hold on. We're gonna talk about it right now. They get to the gate. They open up the gate. Jon is having a moment to take it all in again. Like, damn, I'm the king of the North. I did all this to get back, and I'm doing this again. That was the look it gave me. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this again. Yeah. I'm going out here again. And so they go off, and they're in a V shape along the line. The Magnificent Seven, the Fellowship of the White Walkers, whatever else you want to call them. It's a great moment.
The Avengers of.
I love how it ends, dude. It's like it's a freaking great moment to end the show on that episode on.
Yeah, we only have one. We only have next week, and that's
this
it.
This was episode 5, so we have 2. We have 6 and 7.
I thought this was 6 episodes this season. And next season was 7 episodes.
This is 7 episodes, and next season is 8, I think.
I thought they were saying between 13 episodes.
This one's supposed to be 7.
Between the 2.
Well, this season's supposed to be 7. 7 episodes. So we have 2 more. We have 2 more episodes. But great way to end the episode. Now going on to what's in the future based on everything we talked about. They gave you the teaser right after the credits. There's a couple things that I want to see in something that the teaser kind of reflected. I'm worried about. First off, I want to see what are the issues going to be between Arya and Littlefinger, because you know that's not going to go unspoken of for 2 episodes. Somebody's going to say something next week. Then 2.
I don't know if Arya is going to be one to want to be speaking.
Well,
though.
Maybe not speaking, maybe some stabbing. There's going to be a tussle with the White Walkers, of course. But in the little teaser for next week, I could have sworn it seemed like there were 2 of them fighting each other. So that makes me wonder, did one get turned? And then the other thing, which this goes from book reading, is the whole Azawi, whatever, the old person that made the blade that's a fire blade. They show Beric on holding the blade, and it ignites with fire. That's why I've been saying, is he more important to the story than we know? So I'm wondering what happens there. What do you think, Lynn?
The first thing that I thought of, and it goes back to the conversation before they let the Brothers Without Banner out, is here you got the head of the Wildlings and Mormont, whose father chased him all over the place and killed a good bunch of his people. If it's any of those, if it's those 2 fighting, is it possible that we might lose both of them?
Jorah and Giant to each other?
Jorah, yeah. No, well, one fatally inflicts the other, and then they turn, or maybe it's a quick turn or what have you, and ends up killing him after the fact.
So what if this happens? They're trying to capture a White Walker, right? And then at the end of the teaser, they show them running, and Jon is sprinting, and he's slightly ahead of Tormund. And he accelerates past Tormund. What if somehow Jorah gets turned because, like I said, his death warrant was signed when Tyrion gave him the thing? What if they bring him back with the coin, the ring, coin, whatever? What if they bring him back, but he's a White Walker with the coin? Jorah. And I think the person we can lose is Horace, the guy that wants liquor, that has the ponytail up here.
You could lose any of the Brothers Without Banners. They're all expendable except the Hound.
Yeah, because the Hound.
Let's put it convinced.
The Hound has to face off with the Mountain. I think. If everything's said and done, I think that has to happen. You can't kill the Hound by a stinking little White Walker. He needs the Mountain.
Yeah.
So I think the Hound is safe. I think Horace and Beric are both at risk. I think Jorah's at risk. I don't think Tormund is at risk. I don't think Jon's at risk. And I don't think Gendry's at risk.
Gendry's not at risk because of what his job is. He's a blacksmith, and he's going to turn, because one thing that my wife brought up to attention is that in the books that Sam was reading, when he was reading about the grayscale, they showed the dagger that Arya has. And what type of steel is that?
It was dragon glass. Valerian.
No, Valerian steel. Do you know what the compound to make Valerian steel is?
What is that?
Heating up dragon glass. So they're intertwined. Dragon glass and Viridian steel are the same thing. So he's got to condition weapons no matter what. So that's why I know Gendry's not going anywhere.
I also just think his story as being the son of Robert Baratheon is that holds some water. So
yeah, bastard son.
It might not, at the end of the day, it might not be that he's the only one alive sitting, but it's something there. Because I think the way, regardless of him, the whole birthright thing, to a certain extent, you can only state how much birthright you have, because at one point or another somebody took the throne from somebody else, and that person took the throne from somebody else, and so on. It goes on like that forever and ever. When they took the throne and Robert Baratheon became the king,
but then
I think he became a king through what would be considered in this
deception.
Yes, but also through legal ways, because he killed the Mad King.
But here's why. He killed the Mad King because... But here's the thing. The Mad King's son, who was legitimately married to Ned Stark's sister, who was promised to Baratheon, the only reason why he did that uprising and rebellion to kill the Mad King was because he was pissed off that Ned's sister ran off willingly now, is what we're getting, willingly now to live with, Dragon, and to be his love and what have you, and push off aside Robert. So Robert's the whole reason for him having the crown was to cover his own, hateful spawn and jealousy.
So the other thing I'm thinking, maybe Robert, because Robert possibly knew that he got ditched, but he still loved her, or whatever the case may be. But I think also he lied to himself to make it seem like she was taken, kidnapped, and raped and had a kid.
But he also lied to Ned.
And that's what I'm saying, man.
That's my point.
And so I think
he rebelled
to save himself from realizing the true hurt of it. But the whole Mad King issue of the Mad King dying, though, I think the Mad King dying, killing the Mad King, Jaime stabbing him, the Kingslayer, coming and becoming Kingslayer, was totally justifiable by the fact that he wanted to burn King's Landing with a dragon fire.
Yeah, but let's now we have a reason. He wanted to do that because of this said rebellion. Okay, this said rebellion based on spurned love. Okay, and even if the Mad King was killed, no one ever knew why he went mad. Could it be because his son was killed for a forbidden love that he was not supposed to have, even though he wanted? And that's what made him mad?
Maybe.
And for all we know, his son could have been just like Daenerys, had been someone who was going to be for the people and much better off as king, because he would have been the rightful king. From what
I've heard from people that have read the books is that Rhaegar is described as someone that is not like his father, the Mad King, that was more level-headed and compassionate. And
right.
So
which is a lot like Daenerys is.
And he's in the sense not, because Dany is still not. She still gets the fire in her,
But that's because she has, just because of her experiences. But overall, she's still level-headed.
Hopefully.
She's still for her people. She's doing anything.
They still tease us though.
They're not doing anything along. You're trying to make her the Mad Queen, and that's Cersei. Let's get that out of the way. That is full-on Cersei. Cersei's the Mad Queen in this story. So, and I think with that, it shows that, it's not, the Targaryens weren't always mad hungry or power hungry or willing to destroy everything. Because here we have two people, her brother and now her, who have the same type of wavelength. And we probably will never see them sit on the throne because something else is going to happen. We didn't see him get on the throne because he was killed by Robert. You know what I mean? So
I still think that at least HBO is still trying to throw that in there, the tease of Dany, of possibly having some of her father's bad habits. I still think that. Now, whether you think I'm wrong,
No. The reason why I
think the showrunners, David whatever and DB whatever Weiss, I still think that they're trying to throw that inkling of that just to throw us off a little bit. Now, I do think, I'm not saying she's a Mad Queen, but I do believe that they're trying to throw that whole inkling of possibly.
I'm going with the speech that both her and John say. You don't judge someone based on what their father has done. When she was talking about that, I am not my father. You know, and she's mentioning that is to solidify that, no, yeah, I understand. I got to do things that I may not like or I may not go through, but I'm going to do them because I'm going to do it for my people. She's not thinking overall that she just wants power. She wants her birthright, and she also wants to protect her people. But
she also, like I said...
Where on the other hand, Cersei would kill her own kids.
Yeah, but I still believe that Dany, they're at least leaving that hint there, because she had to be talked out of taking her dragons to King's Landing. She had to be talked out. And then Varys and Tyrion were touching on it, like, you gotta somehow get her to listen to you, because she could be a good person, but she needs to listen to you and not go off the handle, which is fine. I'm not saying she's the Mad Queen entirely. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's an inkling of that there. But what do you want to see next week?
It's rough, man. I just want to see. I do want to see why they're running. Like, are they running from one of the?
Is it the whole army of the?
Or could it be like one of the giant White Walkers? Because they have yet to. John did, but the others did not see the giants as White Walkers.
I don't think.
From what I remember, when he was getting away on the boat, is where I thought he saw the big ones.
Was there one in that? There might have been one.
I thought there was one. Because when he saw all the dead rise and join the White King.
Yeah.
But I just want to. My curiosity is right there, on that other side of the wall. I can care less about everything else. When it comes to Littlefinger, I just hope that this is his calling card. I don't want him to. For some reason, I don't want him to make it to next season.
Well, here's the thing. We need a one of the main cast members to die sometime soon. I think we do. And here's the.
But I think we're gonna.
Littlefinger dies. I think that might be a fan fulfilling type of death. You know, like a lot of fans are probably gonna like that if Littlefinger dies.
Well, just like they did with Joffrey, and just like they did.
So, do they want to do that, or give us a downer death? You know, like. Give us a death that we're.
Well, no, I think we're still going to get a downer death.
Well, out of the Magnificent Seven,
like Jorah, yeah, like
a couple of them are going to die. I think Horus could die.
But the only one that would be the downer would be Jorah out of that. Because he's been from the beginning.
Short-lived reunion. He finally got over the grayscale, and boom, he just dies right away.
But he's also a character we've loved since the beginning.
Yeah, he's had character
so
flaws,
he would be
grown,
more the impact.
He's had a good arc, and he's shown that he's more. So, yeah, no, definitely. I think Horus. I think his name is Horus. He's the one with the Brotherhood, and Jorah are both up for deaths in that group. I don't think any of the other people in the Magnificent Seven are up for death. I don't think.
I'd like to see Melisandre close out this season because I'm curious to what her
she
statement.
Has to die, and so does Varys. So what about two?
Right, but that's what I mean. There has to be something that either starts with those two leading up to her premonition.
What if her premonition of Varys dying and her dying has to do more with him being a sacrifice and completing the ritual and using him? Because he was already used for one ritual. What if, like, somehow another ritual she uses him, and then I don't know, whatever happens.
Or he turns the table on her, because it sounds like either one of them are going to kill the other. and because of that, they're gonna die. That's what that's how the crypticness was, because they had way too much tension for it to be.
He doesn't like the Red Priestess though because of what happened to him, and all the Red Priestess don't even know what happened to him. Every single Red Priestess knows what happened to him. It seems like they all have a group text going around. Hey, remember this guy named Varys? He's a eunuch now because the dude was cut off his ding-a-ling and tried to do a sacrifice.
We felt like doing it.
So, okay, so any last thoughts, Lynn? I know we can't get Brendan. I've been trying to...
yeah, I've been trying to add him too, and it keeps giving me a call failed, so I don't know if his battery just went out. Last thought real quick. Please, Arya, put needle to Littlefinger's throat. Or have Brienne take him out.
To protect Sansa.
You know, yeah.
I think if Brienne takes him out, though, Sansa will be upset with her.
Why? She's doing what her mother asked for her to do.
I think Sansa is at that point now where she's getting a taste of power, and I hope.
I don't think it bothered her too much, because when she comes to realization that Littlefinger's was still trying to blackmail her, I don't think she's going to care. Because that's going to kind of that's also something that needs to come to light.
Let me say it this way then: if Sansa doesn't order it to Littlefinger, I think she would be upset. If Sansa ordered it, she'd be totally fine, obviously. I mean, if she doesn't order it, it'd be like, how dare you go against me?
Yeah, but she doesn't have the strength. You remember what Ned Stark said at the beginning to Bran? You know, that the person who orders the execution should be able to also drop the sword. So if she orders it, then she should be the one to carry it through. Sansa's not that. Yeah, exactly. Sansa's not that strong, nor will she ever be. Not in the last however many episodes we have. I don't think she'll ever be that strong. So in that sense, I think either Arya's got to play it slick, like dress up and become Sansa, like in full no one gear, and wear her face, which I don't know how that would be pulled off because she's alive, but she'd have to do something along that lines, or just like let Brianna know, hey, this is what Littlefinger's doing. We need to stop him. You were sworn to protect us by my mother, so please do this. Do you think
Arya would tell Brienne if that's something that she's going on?
I think if anyone that she has respect right now in Winterfell is only Brienne. Yeah, because of the whole thing with the battle they had in the training, and the fact that Brienne took down the Hound. I think she really looks for Brienne in that sense.
We got 2 episodes left, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next 2, because just 5 weeks ago we were talking about this season being the season with a war of the White Walkers, and the next season being the war of the people, or vice versa. But we mostly thought it would be White Walkers, people. It seems to me like they're going to lead in.
White Walkers is going to be the whole thing
with the war of the White Walkers next week, and continue it maybe the last week of this season, and then next year we're going to have to get the main bulk of one season being a ton of. I
don't know. I think that the battle with the White Walkers is going to take a lot more than just 2 episodes, man.
It's going to be an expensive battle,
because you're talking about the entire 7 kingdoms and going against the White Walkers.
So here's what I'm thinking then. Next week or the week after, it's going to be the lead up to that. So it's going to be a battle, but it's going to be a small battle. But it's going to leave you on the tip of your tongue. It's going to leave you on the edge of your seat. And you're going to be like, oh.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like a positive battle either.
Yeah, and we lost some people. We had some casualties. Some people are going to die. And then next season, we're going to go full bore into the White Walkers. And at the halfway mark, whoever's surviving from the White Walkers are going to have out for the Iron Throne.
But with revelations coming of parentage, man, that's going to play a bigger role.
Yeah. Well, I wonder when we'll see Jon riding a dragon. And with that, thank you for joining us. Lynn, start them off with goodbyes.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Always fun. I'm sorry for the constant weird little blocks and white things when we're trying to get Brendan back, but hey. Other than that, Join us next
we will
time.
get Brendan's thoughts on this week's episode because he was pretty reserved this episode. We will get them at a later date and time, and we will make note of that and let you guys know. I know he has some personal fans out there. But for Lynn, for myself, thank you guys for joining us. Check us out next week on our Geeks of Throne episode. We're going to be watching Game of Thrones and reviewing it for you guys. I'm Sean. Lynn, thank you guys.